Have you ever wondered what it really takes to become wealthy? Not just comfortable, but truly rich.
You know, people decide often that they want to start a company before they even decide what they want to do.
You just spend a little bit less than you earn.
If you're not having fun doing it, you don't really love it, you're going to give up.
I'm about to reveal the exact steps and strategies to build substantial wealth in your 30s, 40s, and 50s and beyond. But fair warning, the path I lay out isn't easy. It requires discipline, sacrifice, and going against the grain of what most people do with their money. If you're willing to do what others won't, you can achieve what others can't. And by the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap to building seven-figure wealth, no matter your current age or financial situation. Now, I know what you're thinking. Easy for you to say, Mr. Former Investment Banker, you probably had a huge head start. And you'd be right that I've had some advantages. But I've also helped countless ordinary people transform their finances and build serious wealth. In fact, our teaching portfolio is up over 80% already this year. That's a $24,000 gain on a $30,000 teaching portfolio. And we'll teach you that strategy for free if you like. All you're going to do is grab yourself a free spot for our beginners trading training at felixprehn.org/seminar. But for now, let's dive into the meat of how to build wealth at any age. We'll start with your 30s, then move to strategies for your 40s and 50s plus. I'll cover key focus areas, common pitfalls to avoid, and specific targets to aim for. Let's kick things off with your 30s, what I like to call the wealth acceleration decade. Your 30s are a critical time. You're likely hitting your stride career-wise, but also facing mounting expenses, maybe a mortgage, kids, etc. The decisions you make in this decade can quite literally make or break your financial future. And the median net worth for Americans in their 30s is only about $45,000. But with the right moves, you can blow past that number and set yourself up for serious wealth in decades to come. Here are the three key areas to focus on for your 30s. Now, maximize your earnings potential, aggressively pay down high-interest debt, and ramp up your investing. Let's break these down one by one. First, maximizing your earnings potential. Your 30s are prime time to accelerate your career growth. This might mean pursuing more qualifications, taking on challenging projects at work to build your skills, networking strategically, and starting a side hustle. You've always got a little bit of time somewhere, and I know everybody just wants to sit on the sofa and watch Netflix, but the impact of that little side hustle are going to be enormous. We'll get to that in a moment. The goal in your 30s is to position yourself for significant income growth. Aim to increase your income by at least 7 to 10% per year through your 30s. Next, aggressively paying down high-interest debt. The average American in their 30s has over $40,000 in non-mortgage debt. That's a massive wealth killer. Make it your mission to eliminate all high-interest debt. So anything over 6-7%, it's got to be eliminated as quickly as possible. And this might mean living below your means for a few years. Not fun, but required. Using windfalls, bonuses, tax refunds, anything like that to make extra payments, and considering a balance transfer to a 0% APR card. Now, finally, ramping up your investing. Once you've tackled high-interest debt, it's time to turbocharge your wealth building. Now, here is where I need to address something crucial. You're being fed a lie by special interest groups that saving 25% of your income is enough. It's not. And let me tell you why. The top 0.1%, yes, that's the ultra wealthy, save a staggering 90% or more of their income. And here's the kicker. These are the very same special interest groups telling you that 25% is sufficient. They're keeping the real wealth building strategies to themselves. Why would they do this? It's simple. By encouraging the masses to save less, they ensure that the gap between the ultra-wealthy and everyone else continues to widen. They're protecting their position at the top of the financial food chain while you're spending all your money on mortgages and shopping and travel and all the things that the 0.1% own. Now, I'm not saying everyone can immediately jump to saving 90% of their income, but I'm saying that you should push yourselves far beyond the 25% mark if you truly want to build significant wealth. Remember, every percentage point you can increase your savings rate by accelerates your journey to financial independence. And it's not just about retiring earlier, it's about having more options, more security, more freedom throughout your life, or leaving that legacy that means that your children and children's children never have to do what they don't want to do. Let's look at some concrete examples of how powerful this can be. If you are 35 and start saving 25% of your income, assuming an average 7% annual return, you could potentially reach financial independence by age 62. The key is to focus on increasing the gap between your income and your spending. That might mean finding ways to boost your income, ruthlessly cutting unnecessary expenses, or ideally both. So what should be your net worth target by the end of your 30s? A good rule of thumb is to have 2 times your annual salary saved. So if you're making $75K by age 39, aim for $150,000 net worth. And that might sound daunting, but remember, net worth includes the equity in your home, your retirement accounts, and other assets. Now let's move on to our 40s, which is my present decade. I call this the wealth expansion phase. By your 40s, you should be hitting your peak earnings years. The median net worth for Americans in their 40s is about $90,000. But again, we're aiming much higher than the average Joe. Here are the 3 key focus areas for your 40s. Optimize your career earnings. Supercharge your investing and start thinking about multiple income streams aggressively. So let's break these down for you. First, optimizing your career earnings. By your 40s, you should be leveraging your experience and skills to command top dollar. This might mean negotiating aggressively for raises and promotions, considering a strategic job change if you've plateaued at your present employer, building your personal brand, maybe as an expert in some field, and therefore aim to earn at least 50% more than you were at the start of your 30s. Next, supercharge your investing. With higher earnings and hopefully lower expenses as kids get older and your 40s are prime time to really ramp up wealth building, remember, we're not aiming for that measly 25% savings rate. Push yourself to save 50, 60% or even more of your income. Maybe not today, but that needs to be the goal. And I know it sounds extreme, but this is how the ultra-wealthy build their fortunes. Let's look at the numbers. If you're 45 and you start saving 25% of your income, you could reach financial independence by age 72. Let's get into investments. Consider branching out beyond basic index funds, real estate, either directly or through REITs, individual stocks, if you're willing to do the research, and alternative investments. Plenty of stuff like that knocking about there. Finally, start thinking about multiple income streams. Your 40s are a great time to lay the groundwork for passive income in retirement. This could include rental properties, dividend-paying stocks. Make sure you are on top of the taxes with that. Creating some sort of side business that leverages the skills maybe that you build in your job or your hobbies and something that other people are willing to pay for. The goal is to have income sources beyond just your day job because you can continue those income sources when the day job stops or you decide to quit. So what's the net worth target for your 40s? You want to aim for 4 times your annual salary by age 49. So if you're making 100K, you should be targeting $400,000 plus net worth. Now let's talk about your 50s and beyond, what I call the wealth growth phase. Your 50s are critical years. Retirement is on the horizon, but you still have time to make significant impacts on your wealth. The median net worth for Americans in their 50s is about $170,000. But if you've been following the strategies I've outlined above, you should be well above that. Here are the 3 key focus areas for your 50s. Maximize catch-up contributions. Optimize your asset allocation. Plan for healthcare costs. Let's dive in. First, maximizing catch-up contributions. Once you hit 50, you can contribute extra in your retirement accounts. An extra $7,500 to your 401k. I would only do that if your employer matches it personally. And you can put an extra $1,000 into your IRA. Make sure you really look into Roth IRAs and backdoor Roth IRAs because they're a magic little pill. Take full advantage of all of these tax savings to boost your investments. And next, look at your asset allocation. The closer you get to retirement, you likely want to shift to a little bit more of a conservative mix, but don't get too conservative. You still need growth. You're still going to be around for quite a few decades. So consider a mix of stocks, bonds, real estate, and some cash for emergencies. The exact percentages will depend on your risk tolerance, how close you are to retirement, how many income streams you got in your household, and a few other things. Finally, planning for healthcare costs. This is a major expense for many in retirement that most people underestimate. So consider maximizing HSA contributions if you're eligible. Research long-term care insurance, and the most important, stay as healthy as possible. There are a bunch of people on YouTube who are like in their 80s and they're doing pull-ups, chin-ups, one-arm pull-ups and all that kind of stuff. This whole thing that we deteriorate with age is a complete myth. We deteriorate with age because we've been sitting in our backside for 40 years, watching Netflix, eating bad food. So in my opinion, the time to really take your health serious is definitely in your 50s and aim to be fitter than you were in your 20s. All those creaks and stuff, you can get rid of them if you just respect your body. But let's look at the power of aggressive saving in your 50s. If you're 55 years old and you could save 50% of your income, you could potentially retire in just 10 years by age 65. That's the power of high savings rates combined with smart investments. So what's the net worth target for your 50s? You want to aim for 6 to 8 times your annual salary by age 59. So if you're making $120,000, you should be targeting a net worth of $720,000 to $960,000. Now let's talk about something crucial here. Teaching this to your children. The power of starting early is truly, truly mind-boggling. Let me give you an example that will knock your socks off. Imagine you have 2 children. You teach one to start investing $200 a month at age 20, and they keep that up until the age 60. The other starts 10 years later at age 30, investing the same $200 a month until age 60. Assuming that same 7% average annual return, the child that you obviously loved more started at 20 would have $525,000 by the age of 60. The one who started at 30, they only had $245,000. That's a difference of $280,000, more than double just from starting 10 years earlier. And this illustrates why it's so crucial to not only start saving and investing as early as possible yourself, but also to instill these habits in your children. By teaching them the power of compound interest and the importance of investing, you're giving them a head start that could be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, if not millions of dollars over their lifetime. Making learning about money is a family activity. Involve your children in household budgeting decisions. Teach them about different types of investments and maybe even help them open their first investments accounts. You can do that even before they reach age 16, 18, whatever. And these lessons will serve them well for the rest of their lives. Now, I know these high savings rates might seem impossible at first. But remember, it's not all or nothing. Start where you can, even if it's just 10% or 15%, and gradually increase your savings rate over time. As your income grows, try to funnel most of those raises and bonuses and side hustle income straight into your investment portfolio. Whether you're in your 30s, 40s, 50s, or beyond, it's never too late to start building serious wealth. Focus on increasing your income. Living below your means, you can still enjoy life, but you can still live below your means, especially as your income goes up, and invest aggressively into a diversified portfolio. And remember, the journey to wealth isn't always easy. There will be setbacks, there'll be challenges along the way, but with persistence and a plan and the right strategies, anyone can achieve financial freedom at any age. Speaking of results, let me circle back to our teaching portfolio that's up 80% this year. And I'm not promising you those returns, but I promise to show you the exact strategies that are behind those returns in our upcoming free live trading seminar. Why? Because it's our mission here to make 1 million people financially free. So head over to felixprehn.org/seminar. Links also down below in the description. I thank you for watching. I hope to see you in the next video. Smash the subscribe button and sit down and make a plan and include the people in your household in that plan and in those discussions. And it'll over time evolve into a fun repeat activity, and building wealth actually becomes one of the funnest things anybody can do once you know